In color, the continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neal as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord.
Rachel Wells has left the home of Elliot Carson and his wife, Constance. She has long known that the man who calls himself her uncle, Jack Chandler, has a connection with the Carsons' missing daughter, Allison. Yet if she reveals this explosive information to anyone, she and the Carsons face the violence of Jack Chandler. As a result, she must go through the motions of deciding she must leave the Carson house because she's being interrogated constantly by Elliot Carson.
Let me take your suitcase.
No, thank you. You don't have to come up, Mrs. Carson. Thank you for driving me here.
Rachel, have you talked to Norman and Rita about staying here with them?
Not exactly, no.
You want to get away very much, don't you?
Stay right there, I'll get it. Hi, Rachel. Mrs. Carson, come on in.
Hi.
Take off your shoes and your coat and sit a spell. Hey, what's with the suitcase?
Rita, aren't you feeling well?
Oh, no, I'm fine. Just tired and had a hard day at the drugstore. Can I get you some tea or hot chocolate or anything?
Sit down and let me do the honors.
No, nothing for me. I'm just staying a minute.
Rita. I was wondering if you and Norman... Well, would it be all right if we stayed with you tonight?
You and Mrs. Carson?
No. Rachel and her friend there.
Oh, Pop. I told you to stop that. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's a cute little thing if you like small animals. Hi there, Fatso. How are you?
Rita, would it be all right?
Of course you can. Right, Norm?
Yeah, sure.
We'd love to have you stay. Honest. Remember, we wanted you to stay with us before.
Rachel doesn't feel that she can stay with us any longer at this time. She has her reasons. I hope she'll change her mind, but in the meantime...
We haven't got a guest room, but I can vouch for the rollaway.
Oh, that'll be fine.
Well, I'll check with you in the morning. Good night.
Night.
Mrs. Carson, thank you for everything.
You won't change your mind.
I can't.
Well, I'll call you in the morning. You wouldn't mind that?
No, I wouldn't mind.
All right. Good night.
Norm?
Yeah, I'll go check the east wing and see if we have any sheets.
Okay. Why don't you take off your coat?
Oh, thank you, Rita. Hi there. Hi. How are you? Oh, thanks, Rita.
It's okay. Should we give him some milk or something?
No, thanks. I fed him just an hour ago.
Sure is cute. Was it terrible what happened at the Carsons?
They had a fight. A terrible fight.
I can't imagine them fighting. I don't know. They're so mature.
It was awful, Rita. After I left you, I went and told them I couldn't stay. And then they started fighting. I was upstairs, but I heard them.
Is that all you told them? Just that you were going to leave?
Yes, I told them some other things, but oh, I feel so rotten. It was on account of me that they're fighting.
Did you tell them about the bracelet?
The bracelet?
You said you told them other things.
Oh, I can't tell them about that.
Rachel, maybe you should.
No.
Well, what are you going to do? Where are you going to stay? Well, not that you can't stay here.
I don't know. All I know is I care so much about Mrs. Carson.
Come on now, Rachel, that's not going to help anything.
Hey, is there anything else you guys want me to do? Except get out.
I love her. It's like having my own mother. I didn't want to leave.
Then why did you?
You know why. I couldn't stay in that house and keep lying to them.
Rachel, I really think you ought to tell them the truth.
No, you don't understand. I tried so hard to explain it to you. Jack Chandler isn't just a hard and vicious man. He's more than that. He's like a mountain cat who just stands back and waits for the sheep. I know him. I know his ways.
Then we should tell the police.
No, we can't do that.
Why not?
He told me there wasn't a stone wall built that could keep him away from anybody I cared about. And that means Dr. Rossi, the Carsons, and the baby.
The baby?
If Mr. Carson found out that Allison was anywhere near Jack Chandler, or if Mrs. Carson found out, they'd go to the police, or they'd try and do something themselves. And Jack Chandler, he'd hit back. And he'd hit back hard.
You're talking like it's impossible to do anything.
No. I'm going to find out what happened to Allison.
No, you're not. You're not going to do anything foolish.
No, I've made up my mind. I've got to find out what really happened to her.
Hello, Ron.
Hey, Dad, how are you? Welcome to my castle.
I did hear correctly, didn't I? You're living here in the garage.
That's right.
Why didn't you tell me? As it turned out, I heard about it from your ex-wife.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
There's nothing amusing about it.
Oh, I think there is. Now that I'm out of there.
I want to know why you moved out. I realize it could have been awkward with Betty and Stephen living there. Uncomfortable, even humiliating.
Look, Dad, let's forget it, huh? I'm living here because I want to.
I don't believe that.
Well, I'll tell you something. It's true. Come on, I'll show you my combination living room, dining room, bedroom, den. Behold the castle.
Turn that thing off, will you?
Well, what do you think, Dad?
What are you trying to prove?
Well, nothing at all.
What are you doing here?
Well, I'm enjoying my work, my freedom, my independence.
You enjoy this, being dirty all the time, smelling of gas and oil, pumping gas, changing tires.
Oh, Dad, it's a simple life, but you ought to try it.
Oh, come off it, Rod. If you'd stayed, your grandfather would...
What, leave me his fortune?
You know, we used to have kind of an understanding. We used to have quite a few things in common. What happened?
Well, I think it's very simple. I want to lead my own life.
Is that what you call this?
What have you got? Why have you wasted your entire life on that mill?
It's positive. It's productive.
But what are you getting out of it?
Satisfaction. When I came back from Europe, the mill was on its last legs. We're in the black now. And I did it in spite of roadblocks and opposition from your grandfather.
Boy, isn't that terrific? 1,000,000 yards of fabric, efficiency, black ink. But what about your life?
My life is the mill. But what have you got here? Where's the challenge? That you can sell more spark plugs than any service station this side of White River? Is that worthwhile for a young man with your capabilities?
Dad, let's drop it, huh? Let's have dinner some night or go to a football game, something, but let's just forget this.
No, Rod. You're wasting yourself.
I'm not asking for your approval.
What are you asking for, son?
Oh, you don't know me at all, do you?
I know the part of me that's in you. I know that.
Well, you got me there, Dad. I am your son.
Be honest with yourself. You want the same things I want.
Look, I just want to be left alone.
You want the power of Martin Peyton. You want the wealth.
I don't want any of it.
That's not true. You want the most and the best. You always have. But because you're afraid to fight for it, to compete, you're hiding out here where you think it's safe.
You know, Dad, I've really enjoyed this conversation. Let's do it again sometime when you can think of something else to talk about.
Rodney, the thing that bothers me is that you're capable of doing much more than I could ever do. I've known that ever since you were little. When you're a father, you'll know what I mean.
Oh, please, Dad, don't.
It's a frightening realization. At least it was for me until I let myself be proud of you. And then I didn't mind. It's true. You could go much farther, accomplish much, much more. That's why I've always fought Peyton for the mill, and I'll go right on fighting him. I'm proud of you, son. I always will be. Now, why don't you go after what you want so you can be proud of yourself, too?